Hello, dear. It's Heather, and you're watching Save Today with Heather J. I am somebody who has spent her entire adult life living paycheck to paycheck and being one life event away from financial crisis. That has been a very uncomfortable, unpleasant way to live, and I was ready for that to change. The only way that was going to change, really change, was to create a budget and stick to a budget and fight my way through the hard times. And so that's what this channel is about primarily. This is a budgeting channel. However, I don't particularly enjoy budgeting, and I knew I was going to struggle to stick with it during the hard times if I didn't have a way of bringing some sort of positivity into what I was doing with my budget. So I did choose to bring some of my art and my creativity into this channel as well. So I do have a project generally going on in the background, and I do discuss my project at the end of my videos. For those of you who want to stick around for that, that's there for you. For those who aren't interested, because I know it's kind of a niche. Anyway, for those who aren't interested, you can check out when the budgeting is done. Of course, anybody can check out at any time. It's not mandatory that you hang out with me, but I do enjoy your company. I do want to, before we get into today's video, just acknowledge the fact that I do still sound a bit nasally. I am still just a wee bit under the weather, but I feel significantly better than I have in the last 3 or 4 days. I did not want to wait and put off putting out my videos until a time when my voice sounded better, because I feel like if I find an excuse to not do it now, it will be easier to find an excuse to not do the videos and the checking in later. And eventually the excuses become a quit. I don't want to quit this because it's not going to, my budget isn't going to get better unless I acknowledge it and address it. And I need this for me. So I'm going to acknowledge the nasally voice, and I'm going to move on. Today's video is my October paycheck number 2 setup. We're going to go over my income, my fixed expenses, my flexible expenses, and my ending balance, and see what the next 2 weeks is really looking like for me. My income, I am a hourly employee, not salaried. I get paid $20.85 an hour. I work full time. Right now, closer to 40 hours than 32. My company, it's 32 to 40 hours is full time. And then I take out 25% for my taxes. So for me, it's $20.85 an hour times 38 hours times 2 weeks in this pay period. Take away 25%. And my income is estimated to be $1,188.45. That's been pretty consistent. That doesn't change much right now. If I ever get a raise, that will change. That's what it is. I do have this other line in here. I don't have another job. I don't get child support. I don't have any kind of investments or things that I would be getting quarterly payments on. But this is here in case I do get some money for maybe a birthday or Christmas or a rebate, or when I loan some money out, it comes back in. When I borrow some money, it has a place to go. But for this pay period, I don't have anything there. That's $0. So my income is estimated to be $1,188.45. The next thing I go over is my fixed expenses. And for me, my fixed expenses are just my consistent regular monthly bills. They aren't fixed in that they never ever change, because things do get added into here. Things like my utilities are not fixed. They do fluctuate from one month to the next, but they are in my fixed expenses because I will always have to pay that bill. That's not something I have a choice in. It's not something that's flexible in that I can just choose not to get that this month. So for this pay period, I do have my utilities, and that's estimated to be $180. At this time, my landlord pays the utilities and I give the money to him. I pay a $20 service fee for that and a $2 money order fee for that. So this $180 is a little bit more than my actual bill was for last month. At the place I'm in right now, we don't have air conditioning. We do have a whole house fan that does blow cold air up from the basement, but it's not refrigerated air conditioning. So my summer bill is a little bit less than my winter bill. In the winter time, I live in a place that snows. It gets very, very cold. We do have a furnace. We pay for heat, and in the winter time, the utility bill is significantly higher. So I do expect this to continue to climb over the next few months as we head deeper and deeper into winter. Right now, that estimate is $180. I do have my phone bill for $186.50. I know that's kind of high, and some of you have mentioned that there are other places to get cheaper phone service. Right now, I'm not ready to switch over. That may happen in the next few months, but right now I'm happy with where I'm at. I do have 2 phone lines, 1 tablet, and my home internet and Netflix on that line. This is about $50 less than it had been because I've removed 2 insurances and I did get it set up on auto pay, which gave me a discount there. So this will be the first month that it's this low at $186.50. So hopefully that estimate is correct. I do have a credit card for $200. That credit card has another, I think, 4 months on it. My last payment will be in February for this credit card, and then that will be paid off. I do have a subscription for $10.82, and I have what I call old rent for $73.60. This is move out fees associated with the last place I used to live. I received a bill for $709. That was broken up into 10 monthly payments of $70.94. Then I have a $2 money order and a 66-cent stamp fee that goes with that for the $73.60. As soon as I have any extra money to get this taken care of, I will. So I'm looking at whenever the next 3 paycheck month I have is, which will either be November or December. I'm going to see about getting that just paid off and off of this monthly run. But right now, that's just thoughts floating in my head and nothing substantiated. So $73.60 for that. Then I have my first ever student loans at $69.74. And at some point, I will begin paying more on that to get that paid off sooner. This $69.74 would have my student loans paid off in 10 years, which is a very, very long time to be making the same payment over and over and over again. So at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, I will begin to make significantly larger payments to get that taken care of. But for right now, my first payment for $69.74 is due in this pay period. And then I do have this line, space holder, this line for other, just in case something comes up that I was unaware of. If I receive a bill in the mail that I didn't know was coming, and I feel like I have the funds at this time to pay for that, I want to be able to just slip that in and not have to wait until next month in order to get that budgeted in where I can track it. But this is also for when I loan my son some money and he pays me back. That's where this can go there. So that has both spots in there. So that does mean that my total fixed expenses are estimated to be $720.66. There is a lot in here that eventually will be going away, like my credit card, this old rent. The student loans will eventually be going away, but that eventually is so long it might as well be never. So this can get reduced over the next 6 months or the next year. So that's, I mean, I guess that's more information for me than it is for you guys. The next thing I go over is my flexible spending. For me, my flexible spending is groceries, dining out, transportation, my art, and miscellaneous. These are categories I have the greatest control in, and the categories I can cause myself the most damage in. If I'm not paying attention, can very quickly overspend in this area, which then means I no longer have the funds to take care of what must be done in this area. So I have to really watch that. So for my flexible spending in the groceries category, I have given myself an estimate of $125 a week in the month of October. That is a little bit less than I gave myself last month. Last month I gave myself $140, and that seemed like what was really realistic. I've dialed it back a teeny tiny bit this month because I had other things I wanted to get in my miscellaneous category, and we'll see how that carries out for me this month. My dining out, I did give myself, again, $0 in the estimate in my dining out category. Dining out is my number one biggest battle, and it is the one thing I spend the most time talking about. I, for my entire adult life, have a consistent habit of choosing to go out to eat simply because I do not enjoy cooking. There's an awful lot about the cooking process I do not enjoy, and I often go out to eat. It's very, very normal and natural part of my everyday existence, and it's something I'm trying to change for health reasons, for finance reasons, for all of the different things, and it is my number one battle. I did not give myself any funds in this category this month. I have gone so far 8 weeks without dining out, which is so exciting and so thrilling and absolutely completely unheard of for me. But I'm getting tired of it at this point. So in November, I have to make sure I give myself some money for dining out so that I can, I don't know, because I don't know, it's just a challenge for me, but no funds in this pay period. We'll see if I make it through the next 2 weeks or not, or if I just finally give in. Transportation, I've given myself $50 for the pay period. This is less than I had been giving myself. Up to this point, I've been giving myself one full fill up a week, and I haven't ever needed that. So I have reduced my transportation category by $60 this for the whole month, and we'll see if that is too much or not enough, and if I have to adjust that one way or the other going forward. This is the only one in my flexible spending that I haven't kind of divided up week by week by week, and I've given myself $50 for the pay period. I'm not going to go put $25 in my gas tank every single week. I just have that amount for that pay period. Whenever I need to fill up and top off my tank, that's when that will be. In my art, I have given myself $0 for spending this month. I have totes and buckets and bins and shelves and drawers full of projects and supplies, but for projects that I've been working on that have never gotten finished. And so I have a lot of things right now that I can be working on and can be finishing and accomplishing that aren't going to require me to need to buy supplies or need to buy a lot of supplies. So for right now, that art is $0, but the art is a category that is important enough to me to have its own line item in there. And there will be times where a significant amount of my flexible spending goes to that category. It's just not this month. And then in the miscellaneous, I've given myself $216.36. This really weird random number is the cost of some shelves. I had gone and priced out some shelves for my pantry and my kitchen so that I can get some more of my boxes unpacked and get, because there's no storage in this place. So that's what that $216.36 is. Shelves for the pantry and some pants, because I definitely need some of those. So my total estimate in my flexible spending is $516.36. If we carry down my totals, we can see what the end of the pay period looks like for me. So again, my income is estimated to be $1,188.45. my fixed expenses are estimated to be $720.66. And my flexible spending is estimated to be $516.36. Those of you who are quick with numbers will realize that that means I am estimating overspending $48.57. I will not actually be putting my account in the negative. I do have a little bit of carryover from week number or from paycheck number 1. And generally, thus far, I have a tiny bit underestimated my income. So hopefully between those two, that will cover this. But if it does not, then something here will give, whether that's my groceries or my miscellaneous. I will spend less in one of these other categories in order to cover that difference. But this is why I have to do these check-ins and, to set it up and to look at what's going on. If I don't know that I've over budgeted, it's going to be very, very easy for me to spend too much here and not have enough to take care of this here. And this has been the problem for me for all of my history. Additionally, this is that whole paycheck to paycheck to paycheck mindset. Until these are paid off and reduced down as far as my fixed expenses go, until I can get less there, this is not going to stop being paycheck to paycheck. There isn't money to put into savings yet. That will come, but it's not here yet. So that's why we're doing these check-ins. That's what this is about. So that's where I'm at. That's what we're looking at as we set up paycheck number 2 for October. And I will check in with you for week 3 spending check-in. It will be my next video. So we'll see what those, it'll really be the flexible spending, what that looks like next. And that's where I'm at for my budget. And if that's all you're here for, I do thank you for stopping by. Again, for me, I've chosen to bring my art into this. And this is the second project I'm working on this month. My first project is complete, and this is project number 2. This project does not look any different than it looked in my last video. However, I have spent a number of hours on this, removing all of the stitches I had put into all of these brown areas. They are now removed. I needed to remove them because I need to take the back off of this and do this quilting without the back on. Because this was not my project, I don't have any scraps of this fabric left. And so anything I put on the binding around the edge is going to be obnoxiously different and noticeable. So I'm going to be doing what's called a facing. And in order to do that, I need to not have the back on yet. The back will go on last, and it will actually be stitched over the top of the front. And I will be leaving a small portion of the seams unstitched so I can turn it inside down on itself. But I didn't realize that until I had already gotten everything in the brown stitched and I was ready to move on to the white. So I spent 3 times as long taking out the stitches as I had put them in. And so that's the only difference, is all of those stitches are now removed. I did pull aside some muslin fabric. The muslin, again, is just a really rough cotton fabric that I use for apparel sewing. And you may be able to see that this definitely has a shirt shape to it. For those of you who know a little bit about apparel sewing, this ended up not getting stitched together, obviously, but this center piece is enough to cover the back. If I need to, I had used spray adhesive to hold all of my layers together. And it is my thought that once I peel this apart, this might be sticky and stick to my machine and gum up my machine. I did peel back this corner, and at this point, it's actually not sticky, and I may not end up needing to use that muslin. But if I do, if I peel it all the way off and there are sticky portions in here, then I will use that muslin just to keep that stickiness off of the machine and off of the table and prevent that from impacting how this gets quilted. Otherwise, this will just be stitched together without the backing. It'll just be this batting and the front that will get stitched together, and I'm going to be doing some wavy lines that are just going to be like the wind blowing through the scene here. And then this back will be stitched to the front, flipped inside out. So that is really all that there is for this project. It doesn't look any different. Again, I have spent hours and hours and hours with this to get it to look exactly the same. So that's where I'm at. Not a whole lot of difference. Hopefully the next time I see you, I will have at the very least the quilting portion done. That is it, and I will see you in a couple of days with week 3's flexible spending. Thank you so much for choosing to hang out with me today while I'm feeling and sounding this icky, and I will see you shortly, wherever you are and whatever you're doing today. Please have fun. Have fun. Bye-bye now.